All right, everybody, I got to ask. Anyone else kind of feel like we're living in some kind of bizarre simulation gone wrong lately?
Oh, I see where you're going with that.
Like, seriously, between the economy doing its best hold my beer impression and politics, well, let's just say it's gotten a little too Hunger Games for my taste lately.
It's a lot, right? And the thing is, that feeling, that sense of teetering on the edge, it's not new.
Okay, so you're saying our ancestors weren't refreshing their news feeds every 5 seconds, but they still felt this anxiety.
Exactly. Which brings us to today's deep dive. We're going to be cracking open Neil Howe's The Fourth Turning is
All
Here.
right, the fourth turning, lay it on me.
At its core, it suggests that this chaos we're feeling, it's not random. It's part of a larger historical cycle.
Okay, I'm intrigued, but also maybe slightly terrified.
Yeah.
So history is less like a straight line and more like, what, a broken record?
More like a very specific playlist on repeat. Howell argues that history unfolds in cycles he calls saeculums, roughly 80 years long, each with four distinct phases, or turnings. Each turning reflects a distinct social mood impacting everything from how we build our institutions to, yeah, how we raise our kids. It's a lot.
So hold up, if I'm following, you're saying that it's not just a coincidence that everything feels a little extra right now. There's a bigger pattern at play here.
That's a gist, yep.
Okay, I'm picking what you're putting down. So these saeculums, are we talking like your average Tuesday kind of chaos or like full-on societal upheaval? Give me the historical context here.
Think major turning points in American history: the American Revolution, the Civil War, even the Great Depression, and World War II. Howe argues these all fit within this cycle.
Okay, hold on. Are you implying that we're on track for like another global conflict or economic meltdown? Because I haven't exactly finished my emergency preparedness kit yet.
Whoa, let's not get ahead of ourselves. History doesn't repeat like a carbon copy. The point is, by understanding the cyclical nature of history, we can better understand the present, maybe even prepare for what's next.
Okay, deep breaths. I got it.
Mm.
So if these cycles are real, where are we now? What turning are we rocking out to in 2024?
According to Howe, we're smack dab in the middle of the fourth turning.
Fourth turning. Ominous. Go on.
This is a time when everything's kind of up for grabs, right? Institutions are questioned, social structures feel the strain, and there's this deep yearning for order amidst all the chaos. Remember that whole simulation gone wrong feeling you mentioned earlier?
Yeah.
Pretty classic fourth turning vibes.
You know what? It all makes a strange amount of sense now that you mention it. It's like we're all just waiting for the other shoe to drop.
And it's not just those big picture things. This fourth turning energy, it's everywhere. That overprotective parenting style, that's all the rage right now. Dystopian shows breaking streaming records left and right, all part of it.
Okay, now I'm starting to see the matrix here. But before we dive even deeper into this whole fourth turning thing and what it means for all of us, let's take a quick break. All right, so we're back and we're knee-deep in this whole fourth turning thing. But where do we, like us as individuals, fit into this grand scheme of history?
That's where Howe's generational archetypes come in. He lays out these four main ones: prophet, nomad, hero, and artist. Each one's shaped by, you guessed it, the turning they're born into.
Okay, so you're telling me there's a reason why my social media feed is like 90% baby pics and memes about adulting? It's not just me, it's my generational programming.
It might not just be the baby pigs, but yeah, Howe argues that which generation you belong to plays a huge role in how you see the world, how you react to it, all that. Let's take millennials, for instance. Born, what, roughly between 82 and 2005?
Nail it.
You guys are right in the thick of it, the hero generation.
Hold up, heroes. Does this mean I can finally add saving the world to my resume? Right between proficient in Google Docs and survives on coffee.
Uh-huh. Well, while you might not be rocking capes and tights, Howe says hero generations, the ones forged in times of crisis, they're known for being practical, rolling up their sleeves and getting things done. They crave stability, security, all that good stuff. Makes sense when you think about the hand they were dealt.
No kidding. This is the generation that grew up with 9/11, then got to experience the Great Recession firsthand. And now, well, now we've got everything else going on. We've seen some stuff.
Exactly. And those experiences, those become these formative moments, right? They shape how your entire generation sees things. You're not as idealistic as the boomers, not by a long shot. You're all about finding solutions, bringing people together.
Right, so we're the heroes. Got it. What about everyone else? How do they fit into this whole fourth turning saga?
Well, you've got the boomers. They're the prophet generation, right? Coming up on their twilight years now. But back in the day, they were all about challenging the status quo, pushing for big changes. Think back to the 60s and 70s, all that cultural upheaval. Now they're trying to make sense of the world they, kind of created.
Which, let's be honest, sometimes feels like watching your parents try to figure out TikTok.
Yeah.
It's a process.
Ouch, too real. And then you've got Gen X, right in the middle of it all. They're the nomads, coming of age during, well, the 80s and 90s, not exactly the most stable time. So they learn to adapt, be resilient, and they've got this healthy skepticism of institutions, which makes sense given what they've lived through.
Like the seasoned travelers they are.
Yeah.
Seen it all, adapted to it all, come out the other side with a healthy dose of been there, done that.
Exactly. And their role in this fourth turning, it's huge. They're the balance, the voice of reason between the millennial idealism and, well, whatever's going on with the boomers.
Right, right. Okay, so we've got heroes, prophets, nomads. Sounds like we're about to summon Captain Planet or something. Who are we missing?
You're missing the artists. They're the youngest, just coming into their own now, inheriting whatever this fourth turning cooks up.
Oof. Talk about pressure. I just hope we leave them with a decent planet to inherit,
Hey, every generation gets its challenges. But the artists, they've got a real shot at shaping the future. They're growing up in a world where the internet's always been a thing, where climate change is a daily reality. It's all they've ever known.
So not exactly a walk in the park for them.
Right. But they're also incredibly sensitive, creative, and they've got this deep desire to make the world a better, fairer place. They could be the ones to finally break down the old systems and build something new, something better. It's like this grand relay race of history,
Okay, I'm following you, but let's bring this back down to Earth for a second. We've got cycles, generations, archetypes. But why does this even matter to, the person listening right now? What's the takeaway here?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Why should anyone care about this fourth turning business? Well, understanding these cycles, these archetypes, it can be eye-opening, It can help you connect the dots between the headlines, the political arguments, even those generational differences that just feel impossible sometimes.
Like a cheat sheet for understanding the news, your family, maybe even yourself.
Exactly. It's about understanding the bigger picture, the historical context we're all swimming in. It's about recognizing that these patterns exist, and maybe, just maybe, we're not all just out here reacting to things, but actually playing out these roles in a much larger story. But, and this is a big but,
There's always a but.
these are just archetypes, and not everyone fits neatly into a box, right? There's always variety within generations.
Okay, fair enough. I'm on board. But back to the here and now. We're in this fourth turning. Things feel shaky, but you're saying there's potential for good to come out of this.
Historically, absolutely. Fourth turnings have been periods of huge institutional change. We've mentioned the New Deal, the GI Bill, but there are countless others. Societies take a good hard look at themselves and say, okay, something's got to change.
And you think we might see something similar in our lifetime? I mean, that's kind of exciting, but also a little daunting, right? If we millennials are supposed to be these heroes, how do we actually, do that? Where do we even begin?
Now, there's a question and a great one for after the break. Stick with us.
All right, we're back, folks, diving right back into this fourth turning deep end. And if I'm remembering right, things are about to get
Heroic.
That's the general idea. Okay, so millennials, our time to shine, apparently. But be honest, how do we actually do that? It's not like there's an app for saving the world.
Oh, well, about that app. No, just kidding. But how would say those heroic traits we were talking about, like being practical, community-minded, tech-savvy, that's your toolkit right there.
So less doom scrolling, more doing something.
Exactly. Take that millennial energy and put it towards something that matters. Fourth turnings, they're all about people stepping up, getting involved.
So we're talking local politics, volunteering, maybe even running for office ourselves.
All of the above. It's about realizing you've got a voice, right? You can actually shape how this whole thing plays out.
Okay, love the enthusiasm. But real talk, not all of us are cut out to be politicians. Some of us are just trying to, keep our plants alive and remember to pay the bills. What's heroism look like on the Tuesday afternoon?
Even small changes can make a difference. Supporting local businesses, thinking about where your stuff comes from, having those tough conversations that need to be had, those are all wins in a fourth turning.
So it's not about grand gestures. It's about making conscious choices, even in our everyday lives.
Exactly. It all adds up.
Okay, I'm feeling strangely empowered now, but I got to address the elephant in the room, right? Fourth turnings can also get Intense?
True. We've already got political division, social unrest, economic uncertainty. Things could escalate.
Not exactly the happy ending we were hoping for.
Right. But, and this is crucial, the outcome isn't set in stone. How we emphasizes that we've got agency. Our choices, they matter. We can directly impact how this cycle unfolds.
So it's not a prophecy, it's a call to action.
Bingo. We're not just passengers along for the ride. We are in the driver's seat. What we do now, that shapes the future, for better or worse.
I have to say, this has been one heck of a deep dive. It's a lot to process, this idea that we're living through such a pivotal time in history. But it's also kind of motivating. Like, yeah, things are messy, but maybe we can actually do something about it.
That's the beauty of a fourth turning, right? It's uncertain, absolutely, but it's also bursting with possibility.
Big if here, but if Howe's right, if we're really in this cycle, then we've got a front row seat to history in the making.
And not just a front row seat, a chance to get out there and make some history ourselves.
That's it for our deep dive into Neil Howe's The Fourth Turning is Here. Hope you all walk away with more than just a history lesson, but also a sense of, well, hope, agency, maybe even a little bit of that fourth turning fighting spirit. Until next time, stay curious, keep those conversations going, and remember, the future isn't written yet. It's up to all of us to grab a pen and start writing.